Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Stuff video. Today, we're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers and my offseason plan to get them to a Super Bowl. They're in a very tough division, very tough conference, but I do believe the Chargers are on the right path. They're making the right moves. Losing Jesse Minter is definitely going to hurt more than people want to give him credit for. But let's talk about the Chargers. Obviously, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator with Mike McDaniel stepping in. So the offense should be better. The defense might take a step back because, obviously losing Jesse Minter is a big loss. But at least the offense will be able to compensate and get a little bit better. So let's talk about their offseason plan. Starting off at cuts and or trades, the Chargers are currently at positive $85 million in cap space. So that's a great number to be sitting at. This is a team that can go all in on their window right now because obviously next year Patrick Mahomes probably will miss the first at minimum month of the season and maybe even miss most of the season. Let's just say he misses 8 games. That's half the season he's missing. So you have a chance to get 8-game head start on the Chiefs. The Raiders, new head coach, new quarterback. They may win 5 or 6 games next year with Clint Kubiak and Fernando Mendoza, but we can't guarantee they're going to be really good. The only real competition in this division for the first month and a half, 2 months of the season is the Broncos. And the question is, can the Denver Broncos, with everything going on with their franchise, can they sustain another season where they can get to the AFC Championship, where they can be dominant? Their defense, not really going to take a major step back. They didn't really lose any coordinators. In fact, they actually promoted, oh my gosh, what is his name? They promoted Davis Webb. They promoted Davis Webb, the offensive coordinator, and he's now getting play calling duties versus him getting an opportunity elsewhere. So their offense can be a little bit different. So can the Chargers capitalize on this first month and a half start that they get on the other teams? We're gonna try our best. So cuts or trades, I'm not gonna make any cuts or trades. No restructures. This team, again, there's no bad contracts on this roster. It is everyone on this roster that I want to be here. So we're gonna move on to re-signings and extensions. So again, positive 85, positive 171, positive 217, very healthy cap space. The first re-sign I'm going to be doing is Kamani Vidal. Kamani Vidal last year had 643 yards, 3 touchdowns with a 4.1 yards per carry. So yards per carry were a little bit low, but the entire offensive line was injured. Their running backs were injured, so Kamani Vidal kind of got given a crappy hand. Solid backup running back, great speed, great agility, good third down ability as well. Amarion Hampton's kind of the thumper to Kamani Vidal's burst. Amarion Hampton will get 20 to 25 carries. Kamani Vidal will get like that 10 to 15 range in this offense, especially a Mike McDaniel offense. Vidal is going to be used a lot. I could see an extension long term, like a 2 or 3 year deal, but I'm going to do an exclusive rights free agents tender so I can get a full season of him as a running back too before we give him a multi-year deal. So now we'll get a full season of Amarion Hampton and Kamani Vidal as a tag team at the running back position, and we'll figure out what we want to do from there. Next, give me Dayan Henley. Dayan Henley last year had 66 tackles, 4 sacks, which was 6 at the linebacker position, 27 run stops, 15 pressures, and 2 interceptions. He's been an every down linebacker these last 2 years for the Chargers. He's a great blitzer, great run stopper. Linebacker is an NFL-wide issue, so I want to lock up a good one and not let him hit free agency because every team in the NFL needs another good linebacker. And why would I let Dayan Henley, who's developed under Jim Harbaugh, why would I let him walk for no reason? I don't think he'd be too expensive to retain either. So he is currently under roster for 2026. So I'm going to give him a 2-year extension, $12 million signing bonus. But it's going to be a 2-year, $20.5 million deal, $15.5 million guaranteed at 75% guaranteed. So a little bit of a shorter term contract. Again, Dayan Henley, I want to see him with another big time season before he gets that 3 or 4 year extension. So 2026, still a rookie contract. But in 2027 and 2028 is where we really gonna get some, moves for him of like, hey, is this a dude that we can really bet our franchise on at the linebacker position? Or has it been a 1 or 2 years under Jesse Minter? He's kind of like a feast because of Jesse Minter. So give him a 2-year extension, figure out what he is without Jesse Minter, and then maybe talk about him after 2026. Another extension I'm going to be doing is Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston last year had 51 receptions, 735 yards, and 8 touchdowns. This was his best season as an NFL player. He truly broke out. I think Mike McDaniel's actually used him a lot as well, but he's proved he's a new viable wide receiver in a new look offense. He has a great deep ball. He is a great deep threat. Wow, I cannot talk today. He is a great deep ball threat. Great body, very long arms. This last year really proved that, hey, sometimes guys take a little bit longer to develop, but Quentin Johnston, I want to be in here for the long term. showing true growth in those 50-50 balls. And I do think Mike McDaniel's going to take advantage of him in that play action pass scheme. I would love to see some deep post routes from Quentin Johnston. And I think it'd be amazing for him. I really am rooting for Quentin Johnston. This was someone that I drafted in all my fantasy leagues for like 2 or 3 years in a row. Then the 1 year that I don't have him, he breaks out. So I love him, but it hurts that it's finally when I don't have him on my teams. But Quentin Johnston, I gave him a 3-year, $31 million deal, $19 million guaranteed at 61%. I want to get him extended right now. I want to say, Quentin, you've never had 1,000 yards in a season, but this was your best year. We want you here long term. Let's get you a big deal. Only $10 million a year it averages out to. It's a 60% guaranteed, and you get that money right now. So once Mike McDaniel actually gets started and the games are going, if Quentin Johnston has 1,000 yards a year and like 8 or 9 touchdowns again, guess what? You have him for 3 more years for $10 million. So you have him a team-friendly contract, and even if he isn't a great number 1 receiver, $10 million for a starting caliber wide receiver, especially one of his size and his dominance on the outside, I'm willing to take that for $10 million every single year. And for him, he kind of gets that financial security because his first 2 years were very, very rough. It was a question of, does this team keep Quentin Johnston on the roster? Because it's not working out. So he gets that financial security that he's in LA for the next 4 years, and the team gets a team-friendly contract in case he does bloom even further. Cool, we have him in a fantastic number, but if he stays his exact same level of 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, I'm okay with that at $10 million a year. Next, we're going to be extending Tuli Tuipulotu. Tuli this last year had 25 tackles, 13 sacks, which was 7th in the NFL, 2 forced fumbles, 32 run stops, which was 11th, and 70 pressures, which was 10th. He had a great breakout season. He's grown into a bookend edge. He's a good run defender. He actively attacks the ball during tackles, trying to get forced fumbles. This is someone I want for the long term. Now, is he a top 5 pass rusher in the league? No. Is he top 10? He's a fringe. But Tuli Tuipulotu is absolutely someone I want here for the long term, and I don't think you'll have to pay, an arm and a leg to get him in here. Like, he's not getting $30 million a year. That's just not what Tuli Tuipulotu is. He's not getting 30. He's not even probably going to be getting $25 million a year because he's still young. He has had, I believe it was 5 sacks, 8 sacks, and 13 sacks. So he is showing growth, but this is not someone who, like Will Anderson out the gate, defensive rookie of the year, 15 sacks a year almost. Like, that's just not what Tuli Tuipulotu is. So I want to get him extended. I'm going to give him a 4-year, $71 million deal, $46.5 million guaranteed at 61% guaranteed. So great number, $20 million signing bonus. That's about on average for that, 8th, 9th, 10th highest paid edges. But this is someone that I think you can have as a bookend edge. Will he ever win Defensive Player of the Year? I don't think so. But this is someone that you can rely on to get that 10 sacks a year. And then opposite of him is where you get another guy who can average about 10 or 12 sacks a year. And combined, they'll equal 1 Myles Garrett. But I just don't think he's going to be making that $25, $30 million a year. Averages out to just under $20 million. I think it's at like $17 million a year was what he's going to be getting. But I think for his level of skill, not only is that a good number for him because he gets $46.5 million guaranteed, but for the team, it's also somewhat of a team discount because he is someone that you drafted and developed. He is very good. But again, what does he look like without Jesse Minter? Let's get him extended right now, and we'll figure out what he is after that. But at the worst, you have a very good young edge rusher that you can guarantee you're getting for a very good number. Then one more restructure I want to be doing is Derwin James, which I did not put his stats for some reason. But Derwin James, still one of the hardest hitting safeties in the NFL. Great run defender. He's the face of the franchise on the defensive side of the ball. You have Justin Herbert on the offensive side of the ball. Then you have Derwin James on the defensive side of the ball. He's a great run stopper. He anchors the secondary for this team. I do want to renegotiate his deal. So instead of a 1-year deal, we'll again extend him and lower that cap hit. So what we do is Derwin James goes from a 1-year, $24.6 million deal with no guaranteed money. There's no guaranteed money to a 3-year, $50.5 million deal, $31.5 million guaranteed. That's 62% guaranteed. So 0 guaranteed money, making 24.6 down to $14 million in cap hit this year. But he gets $14 million guaranteed. Then next year gets 17.5. Then in 2028 gets 19. Now, Derwin James is now becoming an older veteran, right? He's 29, 30 years old. So I don't think he's going to be making that $25 million a year that he's making right now. But all these NFL players really care about is guaranteed money. Because at any moment, the team can cut you, and that number means nothing. So I want to make sure we can restructure that contract. We'll give him a $15 million signing bonus so as you can see His base salary goes down to 1.5. That prorated bonus was just a signing bonus, goes up to 12 million. Give him a little bit of a roster bonus just to make it easier on the cap number. But $14 million this year, fully guaranteed. 17.5 next year, fully guaranteed. Then in 2028, it jumps back up to, about that $20 million range, where I don't feel comfortable paying him at that point. But then it's, no guaranteed money. But he gets what was that? $31.5 million in new money. I'm telling you, he would take this in a heartbeat, because guaranteed money is all that speaks in the NFL. So with the extensions I did and the restructuring of Derwin James, we actually open up cap space in 2026. So now we're at $95 million. Next year at 135, the year after 154. So you are still very, very healthy in the cap space number. And honestly, I don't think there's enough people on this roster to still spend all that money. So we're going to do what we can. We're going to sign some quality free agents. The first free agent I'm going to be going after is DJ Reader. Last year at 18 tackles, 0 sacks, 15 run stops, and 20 pressures. He would be an instant starter on this defense. No questions asked. Improvement on the run defense. The interior of the run defense wasn't bad, but it can definitely get a little bit better. Sorry, my Facebook Messenger is going off. Let me actually just fix that. But yeah, DJ Reader immediately starts to be on the defensive line. I think it's something that is definitely something that they would look at, because then you would have an absolutely amazing defensive line of like Tier Hart, Jamari Caldwell, Justin Adogbe, DJ Reader. Like, that is a very good deep defensive line. I think that's something that DJ Reader would be interested in. He gets to play in LA, go to another premier team in the NFL. Doesn't go to one of these, backups, one of these bad teams. And I do think it's someone who can anchor that defensive line while someone like Justin Adogbe is still developing. So 1 year, $6 million to get a great run stopper on this defensive line. Next, we're going to be signing is John Simpson at guard. John Simpson last year had 57 PFF grade, 57 run blocking, 62 pass blocking, 10 penalties, and 5 sacks allowed. He has been a quality guard his entire career. Not one of the best guards in the NFL, but definitely starter quality. He did have a rough season in New York, but, obviously when you have Justin Fields holding onto the ball, Tyrod Taylor, Brady Cook, that's not a great quarterback play that you're protecting for, so they're holding onto the ball, they're scrambling in the sacks. Also, once you're the New York Jets and you're 1-15, you're not playing your hardest, man. I'm sorry, you're not playing your hardest. But better pass protector than a run blocker. Definitely someone that I could see in Los Angeles being that athletic guard that Mike McDaniel really likes to pull with. And he replaced Zion Johnson right away for very cheap. You don't have to draft someone and start them immediately. You can now draft and develop your offensive line instead of having them start immediately like you've been doing the last few years. So John Simpson walks in. He gets 2 years, $9.5 million deal, $5.5 million guaranteed at 58% guaranteed. So again, about that 55 to 60% guaranteed number is where most NFL contracts are at. So John Simpson gets that deal. Again, he starts for another premier team in the NFL. Goes from the New York Jets to the Los Angeles Chargers. Because listen, LA is a premier spot, whether it's the Rams or the Chargers. Players want to play in LA because it's a great spot to play in. And I think they're going to take a little bit cheaper deals to play with Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel, and in the AFC West, where it's not open, but it's less competitive than it has been the last couple of years. Next, we're going to be signing is Martin Emerson Jr. Last year, he tore his Achilles, so did not really play at all. He's a lockdown boundary corner, coming off a major injury, so he's not going to be that expensive. This is a press man corner who you can guarantee is going to lock down your wide receiver too. Great man corner. I want to bet on his rehab and he's returning to great play, because this is someone that's going to be making $15 to $19 million a year before he popped his Achilles during training camp. So this is absolutely someone that's going to have a market in the NFL, because if you can get him for cheaper than what was expected, that's a home run. So 2 years, $13.5 million guaranteed, $13.5 million deal, $8.5 million guaranteed at 63%. This is someone who starts for you day one immediately. No questions asked. He's a starter, and you're feeling very confident about it, right? You have Cam Hart, you have Tarheeb Still. This is someone that Martin Emerson can start for you immediately. In case of an injury insurance as well, if he's not starting for you, you absolutely can feel comfortable. You have a very deep corner room then. Next is Lloyd Cushenberry, who's just released from the Tennessee Titans. Lloyd had a 55 PFF grade, a 51 run blocking, 65 pass blocking, 5 penalties, and 6 sacks allowed last year. It's the worst season of his career, right? This is a dude who started for Denver nearly all 4 years of his career, comes to Tennessee, is under Brian Callahan for 2 years, and gets cut. Listen, good players playing under bad coaches play bad. So I'm willing to bet on Lloyd Cushenberry coming to the Los Angeles Chargers and immediately improving under Mike McDaniel. He was cut from Tennessee, the worst O-line in the league. So PR, like the press isn't going to like it. but I'm telling you, he's still a good offensive lineman, was a top-end starter in Denver a few years ago, and a good run blocker with good agility for Mike McDaniel. I'm going to give him a 2-year, oh my gosh, $13 million deal, $8 million guaranteed at 61% guaranteed. He can come in, start for you immediately. Bradley Bozeman just retired from the NFL. I don't believe there's anyone else on roster currently because he retired. So Lloyd Cushenberry has no competition. He comes in, he's a starter, and he's being paid a little bit from the Tennessee Titans still. So you don't have to overpay for him, as he's already making a lot of money from his guaranteed money with the Titans. Next, we have Tim Settle, D tackle from the Houston Texans. Last year, had 10 tackles, 1 sack, 10 run stops, and 17 pressures. He is a fantastic D tackle. This is someone I truly do believe is going to have a wider market than people believe. He's not big enough to be a nose tackle, but I do think in certain schemes next to certain players, he can play the nose tackle position. I also think he can anchor the nose. Like, he couldn't be a every down starter at nose tackle, but in certain packages, I could see him doing that. He benefits in one-on-ones in Houston with Will Anderson. Oh my gosh, who's the Danielle Hunter, rotation guys like Sheldon Rankins. He does benefit from one-on-ones in Houston, so he can come to Los Angeles and he'll get similar looks with Tuli Tuipulotu, with DJ Reader, with guys already on roster. He'll get similar looks in this revamped defensive line. So I'm gonna give him a 2-year, $11.5 million deal, $6.5 million guaranteed at 56% guaranteed. Again, another dude is added to the defensive line. He'll probably be in that second rotation, not with the starters. But this is someone that can move all across the defensive line. And I just really do believe in him as a future at the nose tackle position of a backup, right? Yeah, not big enough to be a nose tackle starter, but I think in certain packages, certain pressures, he can play at the nose tackle position and hold up pretty well. Next, it's going to be it's going to be the very last big-time free agent we're going to talk about. It's Reed Blankenship. Reed Blankenship last year had 66 tackles, 1 interception, 20 run stops, and 1 pass breakup. He has dominated as a UDFA coming into the NFL. He's a turnover machine, has 9 interceptions in 4 years. He's fantastic in the run game. He's everywhere that the Eagles need him to be. This is honestly their chess piece in the secondary. So the question is, do the Eagles let him walk? I don't think so. But as a UDFA, he's been making like $1 million a year the last 3 years. He's going to get a big-time deal. And the Los Angeles Chargers can promise him a starting job next to RJ Mickens and Elijah Molden. Guarantee he's a starter at free safety. Be the bookend in LA. That is a good pitch for Reed Blankenship. So I'm going to give him a 4-year, $50.5 million deal, $30.5 million guaranteed. That is 60% guaranteed for Reed Blankenship to be our franchise free safety. And I'm telling you, if he can get into the right system and the right PR, this is a Pro Bowl level free safety. So he can easily dominate in the run, in pass coverage, is active on the field. He's helping wrap up tacklers as well. So he's getting a lot of assisted tackles. He hunts to touch the ball. So this is someone I do believe could make it in the NFL as that star free safety, as a Pro Bowler. I believe in him. And coming to LA, it's gonna be able to work out for him. So some other signs I'm gonna be doing: Cedric Wilson Jr. So a couple of these guys are from Miami or that are free agents. I'm bringing them over because they're free agents, and Mike McDaniel obviously liked them. So Cedric Wilson Jr., that backup wide receiver role, the motion guy, that's someone that Mike McDaniel has signed the last 2 years in Miami. Bring him over to LA. Liam Eichenberg was drafted and developed under Mike McDaniel as that backup offensive lineman. We're gonna bring him over to LA because they have issues with depth. Yannick Kajus, exact same thing. The last 2 years has been in Miami. Bring him over to be the backup left tackle. Corey Levin. Funny enough, Lloyd Cushenberry was a starter at center with Corey Levin as a backup at center in Tennessee. They both played pretty well. Corey Levin played pretty well in that one game that he started for them because Lloyd Cushenberry was hurt. So I'm bringing them both over to Miami. Then Leonard Floyd. This is a veteran pass rusher, 60 sacks in the last 6 years. Someone I really do think could make a very good pairing next to Tuli Tuipulotu. So we're going to sign him over for $4.5 million. So ending free agency, we had $95 million. Exiting free agency, we have $62 million. So we can still make some big moves. If we want to make big moves still, we could add a Khalil Mack back to the roster, add another linebacker, maybe add a premier wide receiver to add to this group of young guys. But I'm going to keep it, let it roll over, because there's a lot of guys in this team that are going to be extended in the next year or two. So I want to save as much money as possible, and I want to build through the draft. So in the draft, I went a certain route, which I think is going to be very interesting to talk about. So in the NFL draft, at pick number 22, there wasn't really anyone I really liked. Obviously, Vega Ione was there at 22, but I'm like, you know what? I feel like we could trade back and still get a solid offensive lineman, and someone that can move over the guard. So I decided to trade back with the Buffalo Bills. They trade up from 26 to 22, and they give up number 91 and 220 in this year's draft to do so. So we add 3 more draft picks in this year's class to add to our roster. So we trade back to number 26, and we still grab Vega Ione from Penn State, their guard. He's 6'4", 328 at left guard. He's a great pass blocker, 0 sacks and 0 hits in 2025. A true cornerstone to an interior offensive line. He needs to improve in the run game, so I want to sit him for 1 year in the Mike McDaniel offense under John Simpson. Let him develop that part of his game. Then in 2027, he can be the full-time starter at left guard. And then you have a Joe Alt, Vega Ione, left tackle, left guard duo. That is a big, wide, athletic left side of the offensive line. So this is a play for the future. You know, he could beat out John Simpson, but this might be one of those that's like, hey, we signed John Simpson, we drafted you, we're cool letting you sit for a year. Then we'll be doing another trade at 55 in the second round. Again, there's no one I really liked. It was full of wide receivers and running backs at number 55. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to add a second round wide receiver or a second round running back after I already invested so heavily in those in the early rounds in the last couple of drafts. So we're going to trade back with the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, they get number 55, and the Los Angeles Chargers, we get number 82 in the third round, number 161, number 234, and a future third. So the Vikings give up 2/3, a fifth, and a seventh to move up 30 spots in the NFL draft. Into the second round, we trade back all the way to the third round, and with number 82, we draft Jacob Rodriguez, a linebacker from Texas Tech. Jacob Rodriguez, he's one of the best stand-up linebackers in this draft. He's great at coverage, great at run stops, had 4 interceptions last year, and I think long-term could be our Mike linebacker. He's a former quarterback, so he knows how to fake them out with his stunts and with his vision. He knows what quarterbacks look for when they're, reading their defense. And he just tested out of his mind. Very athletic guy at linebacker. I really do think he's probably gonna be more of a day 2, like more of a second round guy. But if he does slip to the third round and we're able to trade back and still get him, that is a home run of a pick. Then at number 86, I'm gonna grab Jennings Dunker, tackle from Iowa. Jennings, I do think he's gonna be a guard in the NFL. I just don't think he has the ability to be fast enough or strong enough to hold up against these premier edge rushers. So we're gonna move him inside. Also, our tackles are set for the future. We have Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, so we have no issue at offensive line. But he's an amazing run blocker. I want to sit him behind Mekhi Becton for a year, give him a full year to get used to playing guard rather than tackle. So now you have both Vega Ione and Jennings Dunker at guard for the future. So now your offensive line, right? You're at left tackle Joe Alt, left guard Vega Ione, center Lloyd Cushenberry, right guard Jennings Dunker, right tackle Rashawn Slater. That's your offensive line next year in 2027. Not in 2026, in 2027. That is a fantastic, young, and good offensive line to know that you're going to have for the future. So great investment on their part, and I think it could really work out for them. Then in round 3, at 91, I'm going to go tight end Justin Jolly from North Carolina State. Jolly's a long-term swing at a starting caliber tight end. You have a Rondé Gatson, so it's not like he needs to start, but Justin Jolly is a starting caliber tight end he could develop into. He can receive, he can block. He had 489 yards and 7 touchdowns last year with 9 contested catches, which was third in college for the tight end position. So a 50-50 guy that is very athletic still. So I do think Justin Jolly in the third round is someone that's valuable as a backup to a Rondé Gatson for the long term. Then in round 4, number 123, I'm going to grab Brennan Thompson, wide receiver from Mississippi State. He's 5'9", 170. I do think he's going to be a gadget guy in the NFL with his speed, especially in a Mike McDaniel offense. That would be insane. I believe he just ran a 4.26 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. So I do think Mike McDaniel is licking his lips to get him in his type of an offense. Be his gadget guy. Last year had 18.4 yards depth per. Oh my gosh, his depth of targets was 18.4 yards per target, which was insane. I believe that was top 20 last year in college. We had 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. This is someone I definitely see more as a slot receiver and of a gadget guy. But in a Mike McDaniel offense, he's going to get a lot of touches, a lot of yards very early. Then at round 5, number 161, I'm going to grab Bryce Lance, wide receiver from NDSU. Bryce Lance, big body outside receiver. He had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons at NDSU, an average of 21 yards per catch, which was insane. That's insane deep ability. 641 deep catches, ranked 4th in college football. He's 6'3", 209. There's another weapon out of the room. We go back-to-back receivers that are different molds. One is that speed threat. One's a big body outside threat. I think they both be useful in a Mike McDaniel offense. And Bryce Lance, I've been on record saying this. Bryce Lance, I think, could be a star wide receiver. by the end of his rookie contract. Doesn't matter where he's drafted, ball is ball. And wherever Bryce Lance ends up, I do think he could be a star franchise wide receiver if everything goes right, obviously. Then at round 6, number 203, I'm going to grab Roman Hemby, running back from Indiana. Roman Hemby had 1,100 yards last year, 7 touchdowns with 4.9 yards per carry. I think he can be a power back, kind of be that rotation back for Omarion Hampton when Hampton's injured or Hampton's needs some tired reps. Hemby plays very similar, so you can kind of step in for him. He can be a power back. He did run a 4.40 as well. That is great top-end speed, but I'm mainly thinking for that power that he can provide, be that backup to Omarion Hampton with Kamani Vidal as a third down back. Then in the 7th round at 220, I'm going to grab a Vincent Anthony Jr. from Duke. Vincent Anthony, he's 6'6", 260 with very long arms. He doesn't really project as a pass rusher. He's definitely more of a run stopper at the next level. I just don't think he has that speed on him to get to the quarterback. If he added more weight, I could see him as a Calais Campbell D tackle role, right? He's very athletic, very long arms, very tall. I easily think if he added more weight, it actually would benefit him to dominate the interior of the offensive line, and that's how he can get to the quarterback. He has 13 sacks over the last 2 years. I just don't think he's going to transit to the NFL from Duke. I want to see him add more weight on, get to maybe 290, 300, and play D tackle. I'd be very interested to see what that would look like at the NFL level. Then in round 7, number 234, I'm going to take a project quarterback, Bahrain Morton from Texas Tech. Nothing crazy. He's 6'2", 210. He crapped the bed in the playoffs. He was the reason Texas Tech lost those playoff games. So he did crap the bed. But over the last 2 years, he threw for 6,100 yards, 49 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. I think he's going to be a backup quarterback. Nothing crazy about that in the 7th round. Get someone for dirt cheap for 4 years behind your franchise quarterback. So entering the 2026 season, this would be my projected depth chart. At quarterback, you have Justin Herbert, you have Bahrain Morton. Nothing shocking there. That's your quarterbacks. Running back, Omarion Hampton, Kamani Vidal, Roman Hemby. I like that running back room. It's very young. Maybe want to add a veteran. Maybe a Raheem Mostert. Maybe someone Kenneth Gainwell. Maybe tight end, Arondé Gatson, Will Dissly, Justin Jolly. I wouldn't touch that tight end room. That's a great pass catching and run blocking tight end room. A wide receiver, a very deep wide receiver core. You have Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris as your starters, with Keandre Lambert-Smith, Brennan Thompson, Darius Davis, Bryce Lance, and Cedric Wilson as your backups. This offense uses a lot of wide receiver motions and a lot of this wide receiver targets. So I want to get as many options that do different things. We have deep threat guys, we have speed guys, we have possession guys, big body guys, motion guys, screen guys. I like this wide receiver core. This could be the guys for the next 3 or 4 years and not add another dude to this room. Then offensive line-wise for the 2026 season, you have Rashawn Slater, John Simpson, Lloyd Cushenberry, Mekhi Becton, Joe Alt as the starters, with Yanni Kajus, Vega Ione, Corey Levin, Jennings Dunker, and Savion Washington as the backups. With Liam Eichenberg, again, you could always cut Savion Washington. You could always not sign Corey Levin or Liam Eichenberg. So the offensive line-wise, I'm willing to talk about, all right, let's cut down on the guys on the roster. But at minimum, you have your 5 starters. I think Jennings Dunker, Vega Ione, and Corey Levin are great starters. So the position battle would be Savion Washington and Yanni Kajus. And I don't think you would sign Liam Eichenberg if this was the room. So those are the 2 guys that's like, hey, one of you are not going to be here. Fight it out. At D tackle, I didn't put Justin Reader over. I didn't put DJ Reader over Justin Adogbe. I decided, Adogbe. Those are ED, not EB. I apologize. Adogbe. So DJ Reader, I didn't put above him out of respect that Justin was here last year, but I do think he would beat him out in camp. So it'd be DJ Reader, Jamari Caldwell, Tyre Tart with Justin Adogbe, Tim Settle, and Josh Fuga as backups. I like it. Good run-stopping D-tackle group. Tyre Tart's one of the best run-stoppers in the NFL. Give him some credit. I do think it's a really good run-stopping D-tackle room. Not a lot of guys are getting past them. Edge, you're going to have Tuli Tuipulotu, Kyle Kennard, Bud Dupree, Leonard Floyd, and Vincent Anthony Jr. I like that edge room. Lots of 2 veterans, 2 young guys. Then Vincent Anthony Jr. is that 5th guy who I do think should add weight and become a Calais Campbell type. So we'll see. But that's a solid edge rushing room. At linebacker, you have Junior Colson, Dan Henley as your starters, with Jigga Rodriguez, Troy Dye, and Marlo Wax as your backups. I like that linebacker room. Junior Colson, Dan Henley as full-time starters together. I really like that linebacker room. Then at corner, Yeah, Tariq Still, Cam Hart, and the way that Jesse Minter ran this defense, he had Derwin James as that nickel role, kind of like what the Seattle Seahawks do. So we'll see that's what they do again. But I'm gonna list it if what James. Wow, I'm going to list it like Jesse Minter does with Derwin James at nickel. But I do think he'll probably end up playing strong safety. But we'll place him at nickel with Dante Jackson, Nico Reed, Martin Emerson, Eric Rogers as your backups. Then at safety, Elijah Molden, Reed Blankenship as your starters, with RJ Mickens can play either free or strong safety. But I like this team, man. This is a very good team. Lots of wide receiver threats, lots of good offensive linemen, a defense I think is improved and younger and better. This is a good team. I think this could easily be a 12-win team if everyone's healthy for the most part. Not, long term, but at least for this one season, if everyone's healthy, they can make a serious, deep playoff push with an improved offense and an improved defense. So, if you guys enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below. How many wins do you think the Chargers win if this was their roster? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.